So, good evening and welcome to the BCS Northern Ireland AGM for 2020. My name is Sinead Dillon and you're all very welcome to the call this evening, the webinar this evening. We have two parts tonight. First part is going to be the AGM to go through our year and also to confirm the committee and the nominations. And then on the we will then also have a webinar at 7 o'clock with we'll have a 7 o'clock webinar with our speakers on a Schrems topic. So the agenda today was we'd like to go through. We have no apologies from committees to record, and we have the minutes of the 2019 AGM, which are available on Basecamp and will be available on the actual BCS website. I have no matters arising to go through this evening, so we'll move on to the officers' report. So, as we all be aware, 2019 and 2020 have been quite a significant year for the BCS, and that we've had, we started out our AGM last year on the 29th of October, and little did we know at that point how the year would unfold. So what I'm going to go through today is talk about how COVID-19 has impacted BCS Northern Ireland, how we've responded to that, how the committee have activated and put into place our activities, look about our online events, and then talk about our social media challenges. So we've had to pivot from having face-to-face events to going to webinars, which has been quite a challenge because we had all the time the value as having our opportunity to meet face-to-face with people, and this way now we're working in a new environment and sharing our information online in webinars. So our members have been very much impacted by this, especially in the IT sector, how the additional pressures that they've had on them, day-to-day activities and work activities, and trying to initially get everything up and running so that people could work from home, plus then all what that meant working from home on people and the challenges, and then how do we stay informed and updated and connected. So as the BCS and we totally changed and went to have an online webinars. We also worked closely with BCS in the headquarters to understand what their response was, and Paul Fletcher, our CEO, gave out a report to say how the BCS was responding to help with their members manage through COVID, and he identified that they put in place a number of different steps to help both members, their own staff who moved to work from home, the online courses, the course exams all went online, and then they also put a lot more information out on their website and arranged a lot of webinars and different groups to help people to stay connected and to enable the business to continue, and to the sharing of information, which BCS is so good at doing. For the committee, we moved from having face-to-face meetings to using the online platforms, and where we had normally got 4 actual meetings per year, we increased that and had a few extra virtual meetings just to try and plan, because it is a little bit more challenging to plan. And we had a number of meetings in July and June to help make sure we planned and got the events in place. So that was a new way of working, new practices for us, which everybody adapted to, and I think that it was very productive for the committee. As most organisations, we had to pivot into do online webinars, and again we went and created a number of them, which I'll come on to talk to. But it also gave us the opportunity to collaborate with other branches, and it's something that we will have started and will continue to do more when we go forward next year as well. This has given us a really great opportunity to expand our range of speakers and to tap into a broader range of topics, and also to help facilitate our members locally to have access to different events across the UK wide, which hopefully we will be able to build on that and will be of benefit for that. We're always looking for ideas, and if any of our members would like to have a number of topics covered, if they would like to send that through to us, we were more than happy to review that and do arrange either collaboration with another branch if another branch is doing a similar topic, or to arrange one ourselves. So finally then, the online social media channels. We have our social media manager who actually does this very professionally, Claire McManus, who runs the actual, as well as being the vice chair and organising events, which we'll come on to, also looks after our Twitter and LinkedIn. So Claire's done a brilliant job in communicating the events and communicating what's happening in BCS to online Twitter and in LinkedIn. So hopefully you find those posts useful, like I have, and make sure that we're keeping up to date. So just give a little bit of background of how the year's been. I mentioned there that the CEO has presented how BCS has responded to COVID, what steps they took in place, how they've actually managed their activities for the events, exams, examinations, and any of the accreditations, and working with computers at school. So there's been a very collective exercise, and the right protocols were put in place, but also the support mechanisms were put in place to help the members to continue to get the benefit out of BCS, and we'd like to thank them for all the good work that they've done to support us. So looking at the events, I'm going to just take a pot of history. I'll go through these for the year that we had. Starting off with last year, we had our AGM in October, and then the first event for our committee was to attend the BCS Convention over in London. We were delighted that Claire was presented at this convention, whereby all the representatives for the BCS branches across UK, Scotland and Northern Ireland were attending, and Claire spoke about the Women's Leadership Programme that she has spearheaded, working with Christine in Northern Ireland and working with BCS and the to deliver a full programme for Women in Leadership Programme, both for the private sector and for the third sector as well too. So that was in November, and also we heard about how the members' engagement plans that BCS are having as well. So that was very informative for us, which Claire and Christine brought back to the committee and shared with us on that one. Then in November, our first event, it was the second event. Our first event was the webinar, or sorry, the event in Allstate with education and with SIA about young girls taking up IT. So the second event then was following up our theme, which is Tech for Good. On 26th of November, we arranged an event with the British Red Cross to talk about how IT impacts and helps refugees in the community, and how we could work together, and the impact of what IT means and what they bring to the locations that they come to. That was a very positive event, a very good feedback, and opportunities for us to continue. I think slightly the COVID has impacted that, but there are other activities that we would want to do in terms of maybe volunteering our time and help people do their CVs and preparation for interviews, because people come from different countries. They have a very different approach and understanding of how to get jobs. So if that's something they shared with us, so it's something we've taken away to pursue. We then have an ongoing relationship with Farset Labs, where we support their Explain Like I'm 5 program. And this is an opportunity for people to come and to give a small talk on a topic of interest in IT. So that took place in January, but unfortunately due to the COVID, I think we only been able to do one this year. We then had the impact of IR35, the new regulations that impact all contractors. We had the representatives from Ernst & Young talking about how the changes that are coming in and how they impact people in both the private sector and talking about the public sector as well too. So it was a really good event and really good opportunity for people to network, to understand the regulations, and also to take away some good advice from the expert panels that we had on the night. We had attendees attending the Digital Leaders event in January, and that was really something about what is the definition of data. It's something that, you know, we're very keen to work with what's happening in the marketplace. So I think Christine was attended that event, so and found it very useful. I mentioned there the actual event that we had IR35. At that, we also had our president of BCS, Michael Grant, who gave us an introductory to his role and his activities as president. And he also took the time to present the student of University of Ulster, outstanding honour student for 2019, an event that BCS is delighted to sponsor each year. Moving on then into February, we had the Turing Lecture, which is something that we work with IET. IET and BCS are responsible for the event, which is part of the festival each year. And this year we're delighted that Rachel Steenson, who is a past president and also BCS council member, gave the Insight talk at the Turing Lecture, talking about spatial data, which was and all how local companies are using this to benefit business and decision making. The event itself was again another success, with one of the largest numbers of attendees across the 4 regions that they run the Turing Lecture for. And Professor Mark, I don't even, Gerlami gave the talk about digital twins, the next phase of the AI revolution. So we were delighted to have a stand at the event, and you can see there Rachel, Christine and Helen manning the stand, talking to all the attendees, and also delighted to welcome a number of young people who attend each year and to share how the BCS resources and how they can use that. So it was a very successful night, and delighted to be organising it with IET as well. Moving out into March, we were delighted to sponsor the NURI Digital Developer Conference, and so basically BCS has a number of events that we are keen to encourage and promote and to sponsor, and the NURI Developer Conference was a very good success at that one as well. March was also Women's International Day, and we're delighted to show and celebrate women in IT, which we did on the social media, and Christine very kindly shared her actual thoughts on IT as well. So it is something to show that we're at all times trying to raise the profile and show activities going on towards people who are in IT, and also for our next generation to try and encourage them into IT. So moving then into May, where we're now into the lockdown, COVID, and we were unable to run any face-to-face events. So we decided to partner with the London BCS, and we had Paul Taylor, who gave a very informative talk on IT freelancing and contracting, and lots of really good tips for people to approach it, what to watch out for pitfalls and different business activities for them. In July and August is normally quite a quiet period, so we really had no activities. September, October begin to get more active, and we're delighted to sponsor the NI Developer Conference in October, which was another rounding success, which we're delighted about. And tonight is our first webinar with BCS and two solicitors talking about Schrems 2. So it was another event that we have is the Women's Transforming Digital Leadership, and this has been a real labour of and challenge for Claire and Christine organising that, given COVID and having to pivot from face-to-face to having to do it online. And it's been a fantastic success in terms of sold out event, and I'm sure it's going to be the first of many. So maybe hear from Claire later on about this event we just started. So they're beginning their cycle of program with module 1. So looking forward to hearing how the program's gone, and I'm sure everybody who participates in it is going to get invaluable lessons and insights and learnings from that. I know that Rachel Steenson did the keynote, so delighted that local talent is actually working with the speakers from the larger scale as well, and companies. So we mentioned that we have social media, but also we worked with ThinkNI and got featured for a number of activities in ThinkNI, BCS Awards, an article on some testing from our BCS's large research branch, and lots of content that we were able to share. ThinkNI featured the refugees event that we had with British Council, and then also the Women's Transformation Digital Leadership event. So it's great to have ThinkNI promoting the activities and bringing it to the wider audience across Northern Ireland. Looking at the larger in BCS as well too. So Rachel has an article featured on the BCS Hub, which is about how mapping technology is crucial in the fight against the coronavirus. So again, items to go. If you haven't seen them, please go and check them out, and I'm sure you find it very useful. So that's just in summary. Even with COVID, it was a busy enough year, not as busy as normal, but I'm glad to say we had maintained our activity, and now that we're in the new order of webinars, we'll be able to continue this going forward. So that is all I wanted to say about the activities. It's been a successful year. I'd like to thank all the committee for all the work, and look forward to the next year. So I'll hand over to Paul, maybe to talk through Treasury Report. Are you there, Paul? Have we lost Paul there?
Yeah, sorry.
Hi, Paul.
Hello. Hi. Sorry, I didn't expect to have to speak. Apologies. We're substantially underspent this year for obvious reasons. Also, we haven't taken in any sponsorship. Unfortunately, HQ didn't allow us to roll over any of that money or use it in any other way. But thankfully for the year coming in, they've given us substantially the budget that we asked for, which is slightly up on £5,800. But again, it's difficult to see how we're potentially going to spend that if COVID continues. Most of the other big projects, like the Women Leadership Conference, that's all come via sponsorship from third parties or from fees, and that's essentially it. Okay,
great. I think you're right, Paul. I mean, we will have a challenge. I mean, the events that are going on, more events will be looking to go online, and so those that we have continued to sponsor previously, we hopefully will be able to do that as well too. And we may try and think about doing an awards as well too. So I think that'll be from some of the planning that we need to do whenever we get the committee up and running at the end of tonight. So that's great. Yep. Thank you very much. Okay. Let's see, moving on then. The next part of the evening is the membership report. Now, I can't see this totally. The BCS moved to a new, well, they moved to Salesforce from Catalyst, and they presented these numbers to us, which were very significantly down on last year's, but I'm told that they have to add in another set of the Catalyst numbers has to be added into the Salesforce, so that will bring us back up again. So, but there's a little bit of reconciliation that they're doing at the moment. What we can see here is basically they've now given us the age profile of our members, and also then number of members who've joined in the last 12 months, and the number of people who've actually left. So interestingly, we've 96 new members and 73 people left. So we are quite close to the numbers that we had from previous years. So when I looked at the AST, put the numbers that they presented into our table, you can see affiliates, we've got a few more, associates have dropped, charters maintained it, members have gone up, students similar. Then the gap then is the other number that are in Catalyst. So they will be spread across these categories of members. So our numbers should be in around 700 odd. So it's a big difference on the previous number, but I'm not sure if how accurate are the records have been and how they've classified things as well. So we need to get a little more information from BCS on that one. They did mention that we have a number of corporate members as well, and they're included in this as well. And so we have 3 local members, and the HFC and NI are about to go, or will be joining. Their first kickoff event is to be planned soon. So it's great to see another professional organisation joining BCS, and will hopefully, as a committee, we'll be able to connect in and have a representative from HSE and I to join as well. So that's the figures for the membership. And the next part of that is to look at our nominations for the committee. What we've decided to do is, given the fact that COVID impacted the committee last year, we decided to roll forward the committee into this year, and plus we've got a couple of new members who would like to join the committee. So as normal process, we could go through the different positions and nominate, and actually I'm just trying to move this here, sorry. Bear with me, I'll try and move this so I can actually get to see the list. Okay, Christine, can you see the screen there? Can you see the nominator 1 and nominator 2?
Yes.
Great. So I can only see the nominator 1. So if I read out nominator 1, would you read out nominator 2 for me?
Yes.
Okay, so the chair, I am happy to go forward as chair. So, and Claire, you happy to nominate that? Oh, Claire is one. Are you on mute, Claire?
Yeah, sorry, I nominate.
Thank you.
Nominator 2 is Paul Kelly.
I'm yes, seconding that.
Okay, so for the vice chair, I'd like to nominate Claire McManus.
And nominator 2 is myself, Christine Campbell.
Okay, so Claire, very happy that you'll be the vice chair going forward. Treasurer, Paul Kelly. So
Nominator, myself, Christine Campbell. And nominator 2 is yourself, Sinead.
Okay, I'm happy to confirm Paul as their treasurer. Thank you very much, Paul. And secretary, Christine Campbell. I'd like to nominate Christine for the role of secretary.
Nominator 2 is Paul Kelly.
And I'm seconding that.
Thank you.
Okay. In moving on then to the first post, education liaison officer, Rose Keane Quinn, and Paul,
I'm
I think you're
nominating that. Yeah. Yep.
And nominator 2 is Claire McManus.
Yeah, I support that.
Great, thank you. So as part of our committee, we have a quite a large committee that we'd like to make sure are participating, or we're very delighted to have the committee. So first committee member is Helen Braun. So Paul, would you like to nominate Helen?
Oh, sorry, yes, I nominate that. Sorry. Yeah.
Sinead, your nominator 2.
Okay, great, thank you. I'm sorry, I apologize. My actual screen is covered with the dashboard is covering the second page, so apologies, I don't have it printed out here. So yes, I'm happy to nominate Helen as a committee. Thank you very much, Helen. So Rachel Gawley is another committee member. Claire?
Yep, I nominate Rachel. Yeah.
Thank you, Claire.
And I'm nominator 2. I nominate Rachel. Christine Campbell.
Thank you, Christine. Okay, so Rachel Steenson, our past chair and a council member. I'd like to nominate Rachel to be on the committee.
And nominator 2 is Paul Kelly.
I second that.
Great, thank you, Paul. Michael Conway, I'd like to nominate Michael to be on the committee.
And nominator 2 is Claire McManus.
Yep, I support that.
Thank you, Claire. And Andrew Foreman for the committee.
I would like to nominate Andrew. Christine Campbell.
Thank you, Christine. And Susan McCambridge. Claire, you want to nominate Susan?
Yep, I nominate Susan. Yep.
And I'd second the nomination to Susan to the committee. Thank you. Richard McLaughlin. Paul,
I
could you
nominate
nominate
that.
Richard?
Yeah, I nominate that.
Great. And I'll second that for Richard McLaughlin. So next one is Scanti Trapalny. Claire, do you want to nominate?
Yep, I nominate Shakti.
Thank you for Shakti. Thank you.
And I nominate. Sorry, I second that. Christine Campbell.
Okay, so the next one is Andrew Truman, who is going to join the committee as a new committee member this year. So we're very welcome, Andrew. I'd like to nominate you for the committee. And Christine, do you want a second?
I second that, Sinead.
Thank you very much, Christine. And finally, Stephen Patterson. Stephen, delighted if you to join the committee. And Christine?
I would like to nominate Stephen, Sinead.
Thank you very much. And Claire, I think, would you like to second that nomination?
Yeah, second that.
Okay, so that is the committee formed for 2020-21. So welcome to all our members, our existing committee members who are going to go on for another year, and to our new members, very welcome. And what we'll do then is we will have our first meeting and go through the process for the committee with you on that one. So I'd like to say thank you all for the past committee for all the good work, and thank you, and look forward to working with you all going forward this year. So just as 2 final slides before we wrap up this evening, before we have a little break before the webinar. We like to plan in advance our meetings, and in the interim, we feel that virtual is the best way at the moment. If things change going forward, we will arrange face-to-face meetings, but in the initial time, we're going to give you some dates for the diary, and Christina's secretary will send out placeholders for yourselves. We normally had a 2-hour meeting when it was face-to-face. We may not need that next time, but just as a guide, we would like you to block 6 to 8 for the meeting. First meeting will be on the 17th of November, and that will be our first opportunity to get together as a committee and also to review activities, review our events, upcoming events, plan for new events, and then talk about ongoing activities that we have, and then also maybe to ask people to take on some new roles as committee. There are a number of different roles that BCS recommend each of the committees to have. So it's something we'll be asking the committee members to consider. So then we'll have our next committee meeting will be on the 2nd of February, 6th of April and 8th of June. Those are our planned dates, and if we feel we need to have more in between, we will arrange that together. The beauty of webinars is that we can really give people a quick half-hour session and keep things moving on. So again, just as initial start, we will generally have these 4 meetings in the diary, and then if any additional ones are needed, we'll plan that as well. So just to give a little bit of a taster of what's happening, we mentioned that we would like to do more collaboration with branches in the UK, and what we'll do is we'll look at the different events that have been organised and consider if we're happy with them, and happy to approach the actual branch organiser to do a collaboration. We do have one event that is being currently planned at the moment, and this is the BCS Conference on Digital Skills. I'm delighted that Daniel Aldridge, who is part of the BCS policy team and one of our panelists on the call tonight, is working with us on this and to promote the digital skills activity that's taking place in Northern Ireland. I'm sure that November BCS Convention, Members Convention, will be taking place. It might be online this year as well too, so it's something that we'll be looking to committee to attend. I just put in here the actual, there's a webinar on about how to set up a PMO, Project Management Office. Maybe something of interest, but we can talk about it with the committee. In February, the Turing Lecture, again, we have no details about that at the moment, but it's a placeholder, it may happen. March, the NURI Digital Developer Conference, if that's taking place next year, we'll be happy to support that as well. There's another event in an online webinar, Making Technology Inclusive for All. Again, this has been organised by another branch in Oxford branch, can't quite see that, but we can consider that as a committee, and if we want to pursue that, good. And NURI, the Digital Developer Conference, sorry, I have to repeat in there, sorry I don't mention twice, but apologies for that. And then April, we might need to think about the BCS NI Awards. It wasn't possible to do that last year with COVID, but I think this year we may consider how we could do that in an online event as well too. So it's just something that we have something in the diary and how we're going to shape up our new year. And again, we're very much open to any suggestions from any of our members, any events that they'd be interested in, or any events that they would like us to maybe get involved in or to support either attendees, members, or with sponsorship. We'd be happy to consider that. We'll also be going out to talk to our members about the Barefoot ambassadors, and Barefoot computing has been set up by BCS and supported with BT running it in the schools, and they're always looking for volunteers to help primary teachers with IT skills, and they've got a new program about Scratch, so there'll be an email going out to our members looking for volunteers to participate in that as well too. So again, this is going to be, it's been adapted to be all online, so it's an ability to be able to give back to help primary teachers with your skills using the resources predefined by Barefoot to help teachers to deliver into the classroom IT skills. So that really concludes our BCS AGM this evening. I'd like to thank you all for attending. We're delighted that we have another event at 7 o'clock, which is going to be the webinar on Schrems, and delighted to be joined by representatives from BCS and also from the Tune solicitors. So I'd like to bring this part of the evening to a close. And thank you for your attendance. Thank you for listening. And if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to email myself or any of the committee. So we will close this part of the call, and then we'll be back online at 7 o'clock for the webinar about Schrems and data transfer. Thank you.